Price is king, it's where we belong. Stay with the dream, don't lose your way. Right way's the fire that'll light the day. Keep it simple, let the moment arrive. 3-8 trap keeps the hope alive. Hold on tight till the signal's near. Right way's the trail, we're breaking through fear.
Good morning, fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for June 4th, 2025. Well, I hope everyone had a great afternoon and you're ready for another busy day in the market. Let's take a look quickly about what happened overnight. South Korea, their opposition leader over there won the presidential election, and that led Asian markets higher last night. South Korea was up by 2% last night, moving on up. Clearly a kind of a celebration over there of the new presidency in South Korea. So we'll want to be keeping an eye on that right now. Let's see. They closed up just short of 72 points last night. So nice little improvement there. If we take a look at Australia, up 75 points or 0.89%. The Nikkei was up 300 points or 0.80%. India up 77, almost 78 points, 0.32%. Hong Kong up 141. 0.660%, and Shanghai up $14.23, up a 0.42%. If we take a look at European markets here this morning, European trade chief has announced that U.S. trade talks are advancing in the right direction and seem to be fairly optimistic about that. And the DAX is responding by moving higher by 140 points at the moment, or 0.58%. The FTSE is also higher this morning, 10.5 points, or 0.12%. And the CAC is up 50 points, almost 51 points, up 0.65%. Looking at U.S. futures here this morning, well, U.S. futures bouncing around a little bit here, but holding into that positive range after a good strong move yesterday. Right now, we've got the Dow futures up 46 points. S&P 500 futures are up 8 points, and NASDAQ futures are up 19.25 points at this very moment this morning. Let's take a look at what we've got going on in bonds. Now, bonds are not much changed here, but what we have seen here is just this creep back to the upside. The 2-year bonds coming in at 3.96%, 10-year bonds 3.96. The 10-year is at 4.45%, and the 30-year bonds coming in at 4.97%. They just continue to creep up. We continue to try to flirt with that 5% here on the 30-year bond. So we'll want to watch that closely. Now, if we take a look at U.S. dollar here this morning, as you can see, our U.S. dollar is trying to go just a tiny little bit higher here this morning. We've got dollar futures up 3 cents, just 3 cents here this morning. So trying to move just a little bit higher. So keep an eye on that. Let's take a quick look at what we have going on here in oil this morning. Our oil producers out here on XLE had a nice day yesterday, pushing to the upside. We're trying to go just a little bit higher this morning, but pretty darn flat. We'll want to keep an eye on this area up here. As you can see, we've kind of got this downtrend that we're testing that resistance, this upside in here where we've got this big wedging pattern. So watch that carefully, and we also want to consider that we're pushing into fairly significant area of price resistance on XLE. But that being said, let's take a look at what we've got in the oil futures. Oil futures right now are up only about 2.5 cents this morning in those futures markets, coming in at 63.42 a barrel. Brent crude is up just ever so slightly by a couple of pennies at 65.64 a barrel here this morning. So keep an eye on those. Natural gas fading back here just a little bit after a pretty good move yesterday to the upside, trying to deal with this downtrend here. We've got multiple downtrends here trying to deal with, and we have this little W formation here in the chart. If that can hold in this area, we need to push that on through and maybe put in a little bit of higher low there on UNG. But at the moment, natural gas just a little bit lower by about 4 cents. So we'll want to keep an eye on those. Now let's take a look at what's going on in cryptos here this morning. Bitcoin here this morning is a little bit lower, down $560 a coin after a good solid move to the upside yesterday, but feeling just a little bit of pressure here this morning. If we take a look at Ether is continuing to try and stretch higher here this morning, up 0.61% or 15.98 a coin here today. And then looking over at precious metals are moving a bit to the upside here this morning. If we take a look at GLD, not much action in there, but notice that we've broken through this area of resistance. We're moving in this upside trend. Nice little resting pattern here, and if we were to draw a downtrend right here, we've kind of snuck out from underneath that downtrend here in gold. Right now, gold up $1.60 an ounce at $3,378 an ounce. So watch that carefully here. If gold can catch a little bit of bid today, might start moving up to maybe test this resistance up in here. So watch that. If we take a look at silver this morning, trying to hold on to that whopping gain that we had on silver the other day, and we can see that silver at the moment is down not quite 4 cents, just pulling back a little bit. But here again, we have that same situation where we've got this upside trend, we've broken this downside trend, trying to push on through. We broke this resistance and we broke this resistance. So watch that carefully in here. If this catches a bid, well, you can see that possibility that gold could push on up here, maybe break out of these major highs here in silver. So watch that closely. Right now we're in here at $34.59 an ounce on silver. So what does all that mean for the day? Well, how about we settle in, let's buckle up, and let's get ready for the Wednesday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at these charts and see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, we want to shake off that bias. We really want to look at these charts for what they are, not for what we would like them to be. And as I mentioned yesterday, that's all kinds of bullish. We were in a nice little tight consolidation, and although we started the day with a little bit of bearishness, they really started to push in the pre-market and push, and big tech did the majority of the lifting in here. As a matter of fact, NVIDIA on its own did the majority of the lifting here in the Dow. But taking a look right now, nice little push here to the upside, and if we can continue that today, I think there's every reason to believe we could be up in this area testing this next resistance level in the chart here on the diamonds. You can see I've got that marked here with that nice straight line. If we were to break through that area, then I think we have that opportunity. We could push up into this next level up here in that chart. Now, if the bears were to have anything at all to say and push back down, well, first off, we could come back and catch that area right there as a little bit of price support. Breaking down below there, you can see that next area lower in here. And if we take a look at our technicals, we broke that 200-day moving average yesterday, trying to stretch back through. Let's see if we can get back up here and test this high back over here toward the 18th and 19th area of last month. So watch that carefully. If we take a look at our SPY also having a good day yesterday. Let's get the SPY. Had a good day yesterday, stretching on through to the upside. I'm going to throw those lines back on there so you can see we tested that resistance high of mid-May, trying to push on through there yesterday. We'll see if now we can stretch even higher. You can see I've got that next area of resistance up here, testing these tops right across here, some of the bottoms right in this area. So let's look for that area up around 600, that big round number. See if we can stretch up into that area for the bulls if they can push on through. If the bears have anything to say, well, same thing is true. We might pull back and see if we can test this area of support in the chart, and then beyond that, this area of support down here. Now let's take a look. Remember, the trend in here is still a very bullish upside trend. There's no way you can look at that chart with any bearishness in mind at the moment. Bulls are definitely in control, and they seem to have no concern about valuation at all. It's just, get out of my way, I want to buy something, and they're continuing to stretch here to the upside. So up above its 200-day moving average and continuing to stretch, as we're still waiting for our shorter term moving averages to even come close to catching up. The separation here between our moving averages is something that gives me a little bit of concern, and even more concern when I take a look at the QQQ, because that separation is so extreme here in the market that if a pullback does begin, just be careful and watch carefully, because if it does begin, it could be painful. I'm not saying it will begin, just be cognizant of the fact of how extended we are in the short term. On the QQQ, once again, all bulls. You can't see anything in there that shows bearishness. Continuing to stretch through, broke this resistance here in the chart yesterday, just barely trying to continue that push to the upside. You can see I've got this next level of resistance up here around 530. Looks like we're stretching up toward that area. And if we break through that, I'm going to put a little resistance up there around 535. And after that, we're at all-time highs in the Qs. And it seems to me like there is a relentless drive. They want the all-time highs. They don't care about valuations here. They don't care about the stretch. They just want to get a record. And so watch that carefully here. Every reason to believe that we could get that record. Now, if the bears were to have anything to say, then I would suggest maybe pushing back right into here. We've got that little bit of support right there, and then a good level of support just below that. So watch that, and then down into here if they were to really whip to the downside here. So watch that carefully, but none of those moves would break the trend. If we take a look at IWM also very, very bullish. Yesterday, nice push, and as you can see, I'm going to put my lines back on here. We slipped out from underneath this downtrend for the first time in months and nearly a year. Slipped out from underneath that downtrend, but we popped our head right into this major resistance area here that runs back to 2002, 2001 even in the chart. So watch that carefully. The question for the day is, will IWM have enough energy to push through that area, and then once we do, prove that we can hold it as support. So keep an eye on IWM. A little push higher, we could test this high that we had over here in mid-May to see if we can break through that little high up there. And if we can, I would say that opportunity that we could stretch on higher here up toward 214.5, somewhere up in here, that next resistance area the chart looks likely. Now, if the bears were to push back, I would suggest a pushback maybe back into here to test this downtrend as a little bit of a support area, price action support in here as well, for that to try and hold on. Pushing down below there, that might be create a little bit of concern because it could be another rejection of that big resistance area in the chart. So watch carefully on the Russell. Let's take a look at our VIX here today. Our VIX, well, come on. Our VIX yesterday pushing back in no fear. We broke this little area of support that I've got right in here, but I think the next target that we've got is maybe down here to test these recent lows here in the VIX. So watch that carefully. If the bulls continue to push, maybe dropping through there, we're about 17.5 handles there in the VIX. Breaking down below there, then I think we start this push down toward this area of the chart, down in the 15 handle area of the VIX, showing no fear, no concern about this elevation, no fear, no concern about tariffs impacts, no fear, no concern about those declining numbers that we saw yesterday in ISM. Not a good situation for our economy at the moment, but we don't seem to care. So watch that carefully. If the bears were to have anything to say, well, a pop up back up here, maybe testing some of this resistance in the chart, some of these higher prices in here might be possible if the bears were to get going, but there's no evidence of that even in the pre-market here at the moment. Let's take a look at our T20s. Our T21.22, well, T21.22, as you can see in here, we're very elevated. Let's go to our indicator here screen, and you can see we're very elevated. Went right back up here into the bearish reversal zone yesterday, and with this push this morning, we're likely to pin this almost clear to the ceiling. So watch that carefully. If those bulls continue to push, we just don't have a whole lot of room for them here to go. And if the bears have anything to say, we want to keep in mind we've got a big opportunity for them to push down if they have anything to say here on the day. So watch that carefully. Pretty elevated here at the moment, kind of almost extreme. If we take a look at our T21.08, or our T21.08 had a good day yesterday, pushing back up. We're pushing back up toward this recent high here in the chart, T21.08, and if we can break through there, I'm going to suggest right up here around 70% of the stocks very likely could be tested. If we were to break into this next zone between 70 and 80%, just know that we're in a very, very frothy area. You can see a lot of evidence here where we get up into this area and we can't sustain it or hold it for very long. When we've popped up here toward the 80s, that's all it is. It's a big stretch up there, and then we really pull back. So watch that carefully here. We're kind of overextended in our T21.08 as well, but bulls are definitely in control. 65-66% of the stocks above their 40-day. Now T21.07 shows us that different story here, that although we've got a bunch of stocks stretching way above that 40-day moving average, we've still got a lot of stocks that are finding out that our 200-day is still well below our 40-day moving averages. We've got about 34% of the stocks above their 200-day moving average, and as you can see, pressing a little bit of price resistance here in the chart, but a good day yesterday to the upside. If the bulls can continue to push this, test this recent high, and maybe even push right up in here toward that 40% area of the chart. If the bears have anything to say, well, we've created some good support areas in here as well if we were to pull back. So no particular worries there. Bulls are definitely controlling the market. Our T2101, this is a major concern for me as we continue to stretch higher and higher and higher in the indexes. We're continuing to see market breadth decline. So what that tells me is that we need to be watching for that potential reversal. At any point in time, that potential reversal could occur, where the breadth just kind of runs out. Everyone that's going to get in is in, and then we start seeing that profit-taking wave. Now, I'm not saying we collapse or come all the way back down or down retesting lows in the market in any way, shape, or form. That we might see just that profit-taking wave come in, and unfortunately, the way the market is set up right now, there are potential big point moves when that profit-taking wave comes in. So make sure you have a plan to protect yourself as this breadth continues to show weakness here in the overall market. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. And our economic calendar are a little bit busier day today than what we saw yesterday, but nothing major. We've got mortgage applications here this morning. Don't think they have come out yet. We've got our mortgage application, so watch for that. Should be coming out here soon. We've got an ADP report here this morning. Right now, ADP is expecting 110,000, so an increase in those private payrolls. So watch that carefully here. That could inspire the market to push even more to the upside. We've got Bostic in here. We'll be speaking. PMI composite number, they're expecting that to come in, looks like around 52.1 on the composite, 52.3 here. Both of those are an improvement on those PMI numbers and showing a little bit of growth, so that would be bullish as well if those numbers come in like that. Our ISM, they're looking for that ISM services to come in at 52 even, a little bit of an improvement over the 51.6. So again, an improvement. If that occurs, I would suggest that is bullish. If we take a look, we've got a petroleum status number coming in, and then we're going to be into bond auctions and a beige book here for the afternoon. Looking forward into Thursday, remember we've got international trading goods. That Challenger job cut report is in there as well. But international trading goods, jobless claims, productivity, and costs, first thing tomorrow morning, all of those will be coming in before the bell. Then we've got a natural gas report, some bond auctions, a bunch of Fed speak, and the Fed balance sheet to wrap up the day on Thursday. Let's take a look at that earnings calendar here for today. In our earnings calendar, well, we've got a few more notables here today, but not exactly giant market movers here in the market. Pause the video, take a quick screenshot of that, guys, if you want that list of notables here this morning. And I'm going to pull this over right now, and let's take a look at a few of those here. We saw a really good move in Dollar General yesterday, and that already had helped Dollar Tree move to the upside. So far, we're not getting, oops, sorry, that's a 2-day. We're not getting a huge upside move. It's just pulling back a lot of that gain yesterday, leaving the gap in there, but Dollar Tree hanging in there this morning. We've got GCO reporting today, not much happening there yet. REVG, not much happening there yet. CXM, nice little pop here this morning on CXM, trying to hold a little bit higher after a big, strong bullish move yesterday. So watch that carefully. And THO, there we go. Big pop in THO. Nice little push through to the upside. Looking very strong here in the pre-market. I'd keep an eye on that. Now, if we take a look at afternoon reports, it might be interesting to keep an eye here on Five Below. Five Below, another discount retailer in there, also saw a good move to the upside after Dollar General reports. Watch that closely, see if it can extend on to the upside. We've got things like AGX, DSGX, GEF, MDB, PVH, and VRNT for this afternoon. So not exactly that plateful of massive notables that move the market after the bell today. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube. Also click that bell icon when it pops up, and click that thumbs up button and leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to continue to grow. If you feel like the video is worthy of that, truly appreciate it. It really is the engagement that makes the difference on showing these videos, the algorithm showing these videos to more folks. So thank you everyone for taking the time to do that. I really appreciate it. I will want to let you know that I'm going to leave a link for the 3/8 trap class. I'm not sure if there's any spaces left, but if you want to take a look at the 3/8 trap class that begins this afternoon at 2:30 Eastern, there'll be a link just below the title of the video for that 3/8 trap class. So take a look at that, see if there's anything left over there for that class. Let's take a look at a few of these stocks setting up. Remember, everyone, they're not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence and be very, very careful here in this market. Remember that as you're looking through charts and trades, to just make sure to have an eye to the overall market itself. This extension in here, you want to be a little bit careful about doing too much chasing in stocks that are already extended to the upside. First off, let's take a look at Shopify. Shopify setting up nicely in here, this wedging pattern, but a nice little resting consolidation. If those bulls can gain some energy in here, we might pop out. Remember, a wedge pattern has about a 50% chance to break through the upside or to the downside, so watch that closely. Take a look at Monster in here. I set another alert here on Monster, just really looking very bullish, continuing to move to the upside. Look for that next opportunity if those bulls can find that energy to stretch right on through here. First alert was down in here, and this has just been a nice steady climber on Monster, so watch that closely. If we take a look, Johnson Controls, beautiful potential chart here in Johnson Controls. Nice, beautiful resting pattern over here to trend. Just look for that opportunity. If those bulls continue to step up in here, we might push that right on through here to the upside. Worth keeping an eye on here overall. Take a look at AMD. I mentioned AMD the other day, and we broke through this little downtrend here in the chart from this little higher low that was created. Nice little stretch in here. I don't think I would want to chase it right in this area at the moment. However, if you like longer term trades, take a look at that weekly pattern in here on AMD. Maybe just what you're looking for a longer term move. Now, I would suggest that if we can break through this area of resistance, then we're probably back up here trying to break through that bigger downtrend in AMD. That being said, though, that weekly could get you right up into there, and then you can make some decisions if you want to continue to hold that to see if that can break through that area up there in AMD. Nice looking chart overall. If we take a look at some other areas here in the market, take a look at AIG. AIG had a little bit of a push through here, little back and forth yesterday on that chart, still holding in this upside trend. I do think it's worth keeping an eye on some of these insurance providers. They've been very good producers for quite a while now, and it looks like they're picking back up in some of those areas here after a little bit of a slump or a little bit of rest in the market. They're starting to find their legs here and might just rest here a little bit and then push right on through to the upside. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla tried yesterday, tried hard, got a big stretch in that move to the upside yesterday, popped into this resistance here in the chart. No harm at this point. I think we might just be a little bit range bound in here, but watch this carefully here on Tesla. If we can get that little bit of a bullish push, I think there's every reason to believe that could push on through here in the chart. So watch that. Roku continues to set up beautifully here. Nice little resting pattern. I would watch that carefully. A little bit of bullish push in the market. Well, that guy might push right on through. You know, I can't believe I'm even saying this because it's hard to believe this company even still is around. But BlackBerry setting up in a nice bullish pattern in here. And if we can catch just a little bit of bullishness in here, we might push this right on through that level, right back up here into this area of the chart. Might be worth putting on your list and watching here. XYZ, beautiful pattern coming up out of this bottom, stretching up through. This is in a pattern we call the rounded bottom breakout, pushing up here off of that 50, and the ultimate target is up there around the 200-day moving average. So watch that carefully. Nice bullish push going on here. We might see that push right on through. I'm going to say the same if we take a look at some of those financials out there. Take a look at BAC making that nice little push to the upside. Citibank making a nice push to the upside. JP Morgan making that nice push to the upside. So keep an eye on some of those financials, looking pretty good overall. And then take a look at some of the health stocks out there. Cardinal Health really making a move here to the upside, worth paying attention to. Things like Procter and Gamble. Procter & Gamble's had this nice little resting pullback coming in here after breaking this downtrend. If this can hold in this area, I would look for that next opportunity that might follow through to the upside. And I'm seeing some stocks like J&J, things like that, starting to work up out of these bottoms. You might want to keep an eye on some of these drug makers as well. So there's quite a few stocks, and I know I'm running out of time here. Video's getting a little bit long. Everyone take care, be safe, have a wonderful day. Wish you all of the best. And for everyone who did sign up for the 3 Trap class, looking forward to it. I've taught this class many times. It's a lot of fun to do. A lot of aha moments for folks in the class, and so looking forward to that today. Y'all take care, be safe, have a wonderful day, and as always, I wish you all the very best. Take care.
Black and white candles, my stars in the dark. Price is my king, got that fire and spark. Rideways my ranch on the trader's trail. Trading with heart where the profits prevail.